And then, I read a lot this week from your guys' media availability. You're just talking about how some of the parents that some on your article for you for more off-ball action. I'm curious. Just coming into today.
I think sometimes it's taken a little bit out of context, the off-ball stuff, and we want to play in transition, and we want to play with a lot of pace. We want to play in transition, and we want to play with a lot of pace. We want an outlet to near guard. If that's not me, I need to get down the court and go. That allows people to come screen for me and get me open. It also makes the other team get cross-matched. They're not able to find their matchups. They want to get matched, especially with me and Kelsey. That presents two tough matchup opportunities, and the more I just stand around and wait for the ball, that allows them to get the matchup set that they want. So it pushes me off the ball a little bit, especially in dead ball situations. And I think patience and waiting for screens, and it is tiring. It's hard, dribbling the ball up 94 feet. That's exhausting, and that's why we're going to do it to the other team. We're going to pick up full. We're going to guard. That's not fun for the other team's primary ball handler either. So you're going to see a good variation of both. But I'm going to be the primary ball handler. That's never going to change. You're going to see a good variation of both. But I'm going to be the primary ball handler. That's never going to change.
What's up, Fever Nation? There has been a lot of turmoil going on in Indiana behind this not being on the injury report right before the game. I believe this is what they call it's when you use one incident to really cover up what you're really trying to do. Okay? This is my theory, Fever Nation. Now, I'm going to let y'all in on a secret. My superpower is observation. I look at things, I observe them, I watch reactions, I watch outcomes, and then I see what I see. Now, I may not get it off rip, but sooner or later, the misunderstanding is going to be joined with the knowledge, and then I'm going to have understanding at that point. Here is what I think is going on. When I played you the video, this was the first time I have been observing this young lady. And this was the first time she spoke boldly, bluntly, and clearly about her position on this team. Now, I don't know what went on behind the scenes, but I suspect she has been given the keys. When you saw this interview that I just played at the intro, someone said something to her under no uncertain terms. I don't know if Kelly and Amber are on board. I know Stephanie isn't. Stephanie is trying to hold on to whatever former glory she has. She's holding on to the past. As I said in another video, Stephanie is trying to recreate a 2012 roster with 2020 generation kids. Yes, that's what she's trying to do in her own mind. And wherever she has gone, what has worked successfully for Stephanie White? It has been nothing short of tragic. The opportunity she was given in 2015 and 2016 by management and Lynn Dunn, probably Kelly Croscott, was to try and prop this young lady up, who probably didn't deserve it. They were probably more deserving coaches, but she fell back on her friendships. Now, we all do that. We all do that if we have that opportunity, whether it's getting a job or looking for a job, trying to get a good job. If you know someone that knows someone, there's nothing wrong with that. But it comes to a point when it's not working out. Just like after 2 years, the Fever put up with Stephanie White for 2 seasons. 2 seasons. This was 3 to possibly 4 seasons after the title. They handed her the keys. She fumbled the bag. They said enough was enough, and they cut bait with Stephanie in 2 years. That's when she went to Vandy, and notice you don't hear anything about Vanderbilt. You don't hear anything about Vanderbilt. Now, why is Vanderbilt an issue? She didn't have her greatest outcome there. Vanderbilt was a chance for Stephanie White to step out of her own and out from under the shadow of Lynn Dunn and her friendships and relationships that she had cultivated being a basketball player. Remember in the opening press conference when she joined the Fever?
I want to talk first just about why she's here and why she's a perfect choice for us. A couple of things, first of all, she's basketball royalty in the state of Indiana. Let's just start there. First of all, she's basketball royalty in the state of Indiana. Let's just start there.
First of all, this is right out of Kelly Krauskopf's mouth. She said, first of all, she's basketball royalty in the state of Indiana. Basketball royalty. That was her leading statement why she hired Stephanie White. She said she was basketball royalty. Now, none of that means you can coach. None of that is a defining moment for how you should decide if a person can coach or not. But that was her friend. They go way back. She's been knowing this young lady since she was in college. I don't know if they had a thing or what going on. I don't know what it was. I suspect. I don't know. Allegedly. I don't know. I can't say if, and, or but. But I do know this. They are tight enough that they gave her another opportunity to come back in 2024 in Caitlin's second season. We started with Christy Sides. Now it's Stephanie White. She left Connecticut to come to Indiana, to me, to protect her legacy. Stephanie does not want to be forgotten, and Caitlin is an immediate threat to Stephanie's legacy. She wants to be remembered as the Indiana player of all Indiana players. She wants to be the Indiana player. And it just so happened CeCe wore 22. She wears 22. My son was coming in the house. I didn't want y'all to hear all that feedback from the system. Now, she wears 22. CeCe been wearing 22. We don't know how long CeCe been wearing that. She started out in Iowa, and I'm sure, I don't know, I think she wore it in high school. So 22 happens to be her number. It happened to be her number. But guess who took it personally? Stephanie White. Why did you leave Connecticut? Why did you leave Connecticut? You could have been content with your girl, Alyssa Thomas. You could have been content. DeWanna Bonner would have never have to leave Connecticut if you stay with her. She would have never went back, had to leave Alyssa Thomas. I guess she came with you. I don't understand what that dynamic was all about, but it blew up in management's face, and there was no one held accountable for that fiasco when that happened. DeWanna Bonner was allowed to walk with no criticism from the front office and no action taken against a bad decision. Now, let's fast forward. I believe, like I was telling you from the beginning, when CeCe made that statement in the beginning of this video, someone had told her something behind the scenes. I don't know if it was Steve Simon. I don't know if it was Adam Silver. It was a stakeholder. She has spoken with the stakeholders, or the stakeholders has sent one of their handlers. This is just my opinion from observation now, so don't go off the deep end. One of their handlers spoke to CeCe under no uncertain terms and let her know it's her show. Just like Magic, Paul Westhead, I know I'm dating myself. Y'all gonna have to go look at the history on that relationship. Stephanie White is, if she's not careful, she's gonna be Paul Westhead. Now she can ride this out and watch the show, watch Showtime from the bench and be content. But if she can't, that's on her. She's gonna have to watch this from the color analyst booth or from home. It's her choice. It's her choice, but it's CeCe's team. Now, this is what I believe is happening with all of this back injury stuff. Now, y'all gonna say, man, where are you getting this from? Rock with me. If I'm wrong, y'all can all do videos about it. Circuitously, I believe this is gamesmanship behind the scenes. I don't think Stephanie has any power. And Amber and Kelly know it too. I think they've been put on notice as well. Leave this girl alone. Let her do what she does. The next move you're about to see now, because Shatori Walker Kimbrough never made sense to me. Once I seen her on the floor, that signing never made sense. It never made sense to me. And in the first, when she got pedestrian minutes against bad teams. 3 minutes, last game, and 3 minutes before that against Seattle. Pedestrian at best. The pick never made sense. The signing was even more ridiculous. You're about to see Justine Passat get signed to a rookie deal. You know why? Because that's what Caitlin wants. Caitlin wants this young lady on the floor. Now, I don't know if this, hey, will you sit out a couple of... Will you sit out a couple of games, just so it look like I still have some power. I still have some power, because if you playing all these games and then make this power move, I'm gonna be exposed. I'm gonna be exposed. Look how they've been grabbing on her lately. They trying to provoke this young lady into a situation. And with Breon January, they're trying to provoke her into a situation where they can say, there, we knew she was racial. We knew she was about that racial foolishness. See, we've been trying to tell you, because that's what the hyenas gonna do. If she would have showed up and showed out when Breon January grabbed her hand, which was totally unprofessional. That's totally unprofessional. To put your hands on a professional athlete is totally unprofessional. How could even that be allowed? Only in the W. Only in the W. They were going to try and turn that against her, to me, as a last-ditch effort to regain the power she has lost. Stephanie doesn't have any juice, in my opinion, and she knows it. Kelly and them and Amber, they just trying to be quiet about it. These picks that they made at the beginning of the season never made any sense. I know y'all are all in love with their 10th overall pick. One-dimensional player, can only play on the defensive end. They're trying to make a young lady a point guard who has never played point guard a day in her life. Just because you can dribble on the ball down the floor doesn't make you a point guard, no more than standing in a garage makes you a car. That lady is not a point guard. That's not what Dawn Staley had her to do. Her job was to get the ball across half, find the first person open, and pass it to him. That was her job for every year she played at South Carolina. You can't get into the pros and try to pretend you're a Caitlin Clark version. It takes a mentality. It takes a understanding of basketball. You see how Caitlin was breaking down how she's trying to create mismatch during her tempo run up the floor with the ball.
And it also makes the other team get cross-matched. They're not able to find their matchups. They want to get matched, especially with me and Kelsey. That presents 2 tough matchup opportunities, and the more I just stand around and wait for the ball, that allows them to get the matchup set that they want. So
the Raven ain't ready to do that. She wasn't asked to do that. And Amber talking about, well, she played for the best point guard in our league. That doesn't mean she is going to be the best. She's not even close to anything right now. You saw in those other games where they tried to make her a facilitator, it wasn't working out. That's when Stephanie pulled her out the game and sat her down, and everyone was talking about, why isn't Raven getting any minutes? She can't play the position like Cece. Okay, now back to Stephanie. Stephanie's fuming right now. This nonsense going back and forth with management, with the tickets, is this girl injured? Does she have a back problem? When we first saw the back brace or the warmer, we didn't know what it was. Okay, we didn't know what it was. When we first saw the back brace, it looked odd. I thought it was like a what do they call them? With them electrodes or something like that. I didn't know it was that serious, and we still don't know if it was that serious because we know how this organization gets down. They're suspect. They are not to be believed on any accord right now. So, with all of that said, I believe and I'm gonna put a button on it. That's why they got 48 hours to make a replacement for Kimbrough. Do not be shocked when they sign Justine Passat. Like, comment, share, subscribe. You all have a blessed day. I'm out.
First of all, she's basketball royalty in the state of Indiana. Let's just start there.